Great roars of appreciation all around the stadium. But there has to be a toss. The referee decides into which goal they'll shoot. And there has to be a toss to decide who goes first. But what a moment. And I'm sure Romanian minds are going back to the European Cup final in 1986, which also ended scoreless after 120 minutes. That was between Barcelona and Steaua Bucharest. And the man who scored the crucial goal on that day is on the pitch now and will undoubtedly be called to take a penalty against Ireland. Gavrila Balint. So enthusiastic was his father for the game of soccer that he gave him as his second name, Pelé. Gavrila Balint, who was largely anonymous throughout the match, who scored the equaliser against Argentina, is undoubtedly going to be one of Romania's penalty takers. Jack Charlton is among his players, shaking them by the hand, thanking them for the effort they've made. And the point can be made at this juncture that whatever occurs now, Ireland have not been beaten in this World Cup. They played the 120 minutes against Romania and they were not beaten. They went through 3 draws in the opening phase in Group F, and they went through 120 minutes here against a top European side, and still they have refused to succumb. And well might Jack Charlton be pleased with their efforts throughout. It's now a lottery, effectively. It's now a penalty shootout, a moment when someone will be delighted and elated at having achieved his success, and another somewhere along the line is going to fail to convert a penalty, and that will be that, and one of these 2 proud teams will make its exit from the World Cup. The net has been chosen. It's the northern end of the stadium, where there has been a vast bank of Irish fans who have been, I would think, leading the choirs, the massed choirs around the stadium. And they are going to get a close-up view of the action. Jack Charlton has done all he can. It's out of his hands now. It's a question of who scores most of the penalties. Well, the roar goes up because Pat Bonner is going to be first between the posts. Bonner of Ireland will face the first penalty in his 42nd international, in front of his own fans. He needs a Romanian to face first. And the officials and the players, as they must, congregate in the centre circle. The referee and 1 linesman go to the penalty area. Well, at this point, we'd like to say a very warm welcome to viewers of 6-1 News. You're joining us live in the Luigi Ferrari Stadium in Genoa on the Italian Riviera, this Italian port hosting the most important match in Irish soccer history, and you're about to witness the final act of this match, which will decide if Ireland's remarkable progress through this World Cup is to be taken 1 step further. It's a penalty shootout. It's 5 shots each side taken alternately, and if they're still level after that, it's sudden death, which is a pair of shots, one after the other, until one team is ahead. The cruelest of methods to decide a football match, but they played 120 minutes. Ireland had several chances to score, most notably at the end of the first half. There was a remarkable save by the Romanian goalkeeper. But now it's down to 2 goalkeepers and a series of penalty takers. First to take the penalty is the Romanian Georgi Hagi, their top player, against Pat Bonner. And that is 1-0. They have 4 to go. And Kevin Sheedy will step up to take Ireland's first penalty. That was this definitive version of how a penalty can be dispatched. Perhaps a touch close to the goalkeeper, but the power of the shot took it home to the back of the net. Kevin Sheedy now, scorer of Ireland's goal against England, against the Romanian captain, Silviu Lung. Showing his number to the referee. He's only allowed 1 penalty in the first round. Yes! If Hagi's was decisive, Sheedy's was even more so. And that vast bank of Irish fans, some 5,000 of them, on the terraced stand behind the goal, rise to acclaim Kevin Sheedy's success. Despite the goalkeeper moving all over the place, Sheedy was not fazed and hit the net. 1-1, the perfect start. Silviu Lung, like Pat Bonner, has been beaten. A little bit of gamesmanship here because the Romanians slow to send forward their next man. And he is their substitute, Danut Lupu of Dynamo Bucharest. One of the 2 top teams who provide the bulk of this Romanian side between them, the 2 top Bucharest teams. And Lupu is facing Bonner, who's already at 120 minutes of intense concentration as Ireland's goalkeeper, and now must try to keep this penalty at bay. The second Romanian penalty. It's 1-1. It's 2-1 Romania. There are many and varied ways to take penalty kicks. Lupu chose the apparently nonchalant course, and Bonner, though he guessed the right side, was beaten by the perfect placement of the penalty kick. His nerves can resume a rather more steady course. Ireland's second penalty. This to stay level. Yes! An Irish hero since June '88. Since that glorious goal against England in Stuttgart that set up a memorable European Championship victory. The pressure was really on here, but Houghton rose to the challenge. Splendidly taken and congratulated by his captain, Mick McCarthy. 2-2, 3 penalties, each side to go. And stepping up now for Romania, Iosif Rotariu, midfield player, against Pat Bonner. This most dramatic finale in Irish soccer history continues. 3-2 Romania. They've been 3 perfect penalties. But as the competition progresses and the Romanians show that they know how to dispatch from the penalty spot, so the pressure mounts on those Irishmen who must stride forward to keep the momentum going. Just to repeat, their top club team, Steaua Bucharest, won the European Cup in 1986 after a scoreless final. In just such fashion, they are well used to the pressures of such competition. Andy Townsend is next to go for Ireland. Do more. It's Andy Townsend against Silviu Lung. Ah, yes! This is a remarkable penalty competition. 100% success rate of the first 6 kicks. Cool heads all round. And now Ionit Lupescu is sent forward for Romania, as Andy Townsend's relief and that of Ray Houghton is apparent for all to see. Pat Bonner from Donegal against Ionut Lupescu from Bucharest. Romania's fourth penalty. This midfield player to attempt to keep their sequence going. Bonner furious with himself. Again, he guessed correctly, but his dive took him below the trajectory of the penalty kick. And this really puts pressure on the final two penalty takers for Ireland. The sequence now is Tony Cascarino's going forward. Should he miss this and the final Romanian kick be struck home, then Ireland are out. Talk about pressure. Cascarino against this fella. Oh, yes. We can breathe again. Well, he's as furious as Bonner was, Silvio Lung. So mark their names with pride. It was a bit close for comfort, though, but the net rippled, the ball was home, and it's 4-4, an impeccable penalty sequence. And this is Romania's last kick coming up. The match began 2 hours and 42 minutes ago. There were no goals scored in 120 minutes of play. And now it's to the last series of kicks in the penalty shootout competition. Silvio Lung has been beaten 4 times. Pat Bonner has been beaten 4 times. And it's now Romania's second substitute, Daniel Timofte, Dynamo Bucharest, midfield player, to step forward. But the sequence now is that if he should miss this, and Ireland's last penalty taker should score, then the match of the progress are Ireland's. Timofte against Bonner. Yeah! The big man from Donegal has set it up for a victory. And who is stepping forward to take the penalty? This is the moment that he'll treasure for the rest of his days, I'm sure. But who's stepping up to assume the task? David O'Leary of Arsenal. In his 52nd international appearance, David O'Leary is entrusted with the responsibility of taking the penalty that could send Ireland into the quarter-finals of the World Cup. This kick can decide it all. The nation holds its breath. Yes, we're there! To the quarter-finals of the World Cup, and a meeting with Italy or Uruguay in Rome on Saturday night. And the most popular supporters in Italy have another journey to make. David O'Leary, one of the elder statesmen of the Irish team, sends Ireland on their way to Rome, and a glorious World Cup meeting with one of the top names of international soccer. Silvio Lung, beaten 5 times, could not make the save that would have kept Romania alive. And Genoa tonight belongs to Ireland. This is the kick, the historic kick that sent Ireland through to the World Cup quarter-finals, down a road never before trodden by a Republic of Ireland team. the most magnificent achievement in the history of Irish soccer. Ireland are there, 5-4 on penalties, after a scoreless match, after extra time. And in the high drama of the finale, let us not forget the part played through the 120 minutes by the 13 men who wore the green. Pat Bonner and David O'Leary are the immediate heroes after the most dramatic of conclusions to a football match imaginable. But certainly, it must also be recalled that Ireland at no stage looked like being beaten. They played the match to win. They worked to get the goal that would have won it in the course of 120 minutes. But they got the goals that mattered in the penalty shootout. And there's one hero, Pat Bonner, the big man from the Rosses. Well, he's a hero of All Ireland tonight. And the other hero is David O'Leary. Of course, it was not there for Dave O'Leary. And this penalty kick, had it not been for those who went before, Kevin Sheedy, Ray Houghton, Andy Townsend, and Tony Cascarino, and of course, Pat Bonner. There has never been an achievement in Irish sport to parallel this. 20,000 Irish, perhaps even more, in the Luigi Ferraris Stadium in Genoa. And they will not want to leave. Bonner's save from Timote. That was the other half of the double act. Well, they talk about Foster and Allen and Chad Maya. Well, I'll tell you now, it's Packy and Dave, the only two who matter. One to make the save, the other to convert the penalty. Splendid, wasn't it? Oh, watch that all night. And the elation unbounded. They're reluctant to leave the arena, but leave it they must. The circus will move on. And Ireland's World Cup story continues. And continues in glorious style. It would have been a horrible way to exit, but we can banish those thoughts from our minds. The boys in green rose to the challenge. 5-4 on penalties, and this historic journey rolls on right down the road to Rome. 0-0 after 90 minutes, 0-0 after extra time, 5-4 on penalties. And there are now 5 days for the team to recover from the pasting they took in that match. 5 days which should see them restored to some kind of health. Here's Jack Charlton.
Well, that's the right thing to say.
What was it like those last few minutes? Were you worried it was going to go to sudden death?
No, we had a good feeling it would go to sudden death. Once we got the extra time, nobody was going to do too much or give too much away. The lads practice penalties all the time, actually. I was quite confident when we got to the penalty stage, and they were very calm, very collected, and they all put the ball where they wanted to put it.
What about John Aldridge having to go off so early? How big a blow was that?
Well, it was a blow because we only got 2 subs, and having to replace one like for John as quickly as that, it was a bit of a problem. And then I had to bring David O'Leary up because Stephen pulled it, and I wanted to put another midfield man in, but I couldn't then. Only 2 subs. And then in extra time, and it was hard for the lads. I mean, it was red hot out there when the game started for the first bit. It wasn't our sort of a day, but they came through it and they battled, and they got a result.
Well, David has had his disappointments, and you've said yourself you've 3 defenders, you can only pick 2, but that must have made up for a lot of the disappointment for him.
I'm sure it will. I mean, David was in the pressure position. When Packy saved the penalty, it was a case of David having to put it in the net, and David put it in the net, and we're all delighted with him.
The supporters, some of the players I see still aren't into the dressing room yet, they're still out to support today. They continue to be extraordinary.
I don't know where they come from. I mean, I think we must have given half for the Italians that were watching. A green shirt or a green scarf or a green... But the atmosphere was unbelievable.
Are you looking forward to Rome now?
Yes. I promised to take Mick to Rome. We're taking Mick to Rome.
And listen, have you a preference again? We asked you before, Italy or Uruguay?
I'm not really bothered. I mean, that'll be a hell of a game, and it'll be a very, very tense game. And but we're there. We're in the last 8 for the first time in my history, and it's magic. I'm delighted for the lads.
Well done. Congratulations, Jeff.
Cheers,
Thank you.
guys. And good luck to the people back home.
Right.
Hope they have a good party.